Hello everyone, my name is Handong Li. The topic of today's presentation is business environment in Singapore. I will divide my topic into 5 parts. Chapter 1 is Introduction of the Republic of Singapore. Chapter 2 is the Republic structure and the founding of Singapore. Next, I will talk about the economic development and Asian tiger. After that, I prefer to introduce the cultural factors and the connection with the world. Finally, I will give a summary for today's presentation. Now let's begin. Chapter 1 Introduction of the Republic of Singapore. Singapore is officially called Republic of Singapore, and it was founded in 1965. The country is famous for its beautiful scenery and rich culture. In 1970s, Singapore ranked second in the Asian tiger economy, based on its international trend and high level of workforce. Chapter 2 The Republic Structure and the Founding of Singapore. Singapore experienced 3 important strategies in politics. The first is the British colonization. In 1819, Raffles found this new land and recognized it could be a natural choice for port and transportation. After a short period of time, the British succeeded in reaching a trading relation with Singapore. The first trade was conducted by Raffles and the ruler called Tengkelong. After that, a treaty was signed and the modern Singapore was born on February 6, 1890. In 1824, the entire island became a British colony after a further treaty with the Sultan. The colony period has huge effect on Singapore. Under the ruler of British India, the population of Singapore increased to over 18,000. Because of the trade and transportation, Singapore became the first place to produce paper and gum plantations. After the established industry of rubber in 1890s, Singapore became one global center of rubber sorting and export. The Second World War has a huge impact on the political form of the country. Under the invasion of Japan, the country suffered huge and thousands of people were killed. This is a huge loss for workforce and the national economy. In addition, the heart of war has made Singapore quite violent and disorder after the war. Although the British government tried to control the situation, the uprising independent spirit is among the public. In 1959, the People's Action Party won a landslide victory and made Singapore a half-independent country with its own commonwealth. It is not fully independent because the British can control the external affairs such as military and foreign relations. And through several years of struggle, Singapore finally gained its independence in 1965. The political structure of Singapore is based on the past experience of British regulation, but there are some differences. For instance, the legal system of Singapore is based on English common law, but it abolished the trial by jury. The political environment is very favorable for international trade and business. Singapore has been rated as the least corrupt country in the world by Transparency International for many times. Under the rule of People's Action Party, Singapore paid great stress to the high-tech industry and keeps the open and clean political environment for investors from all over the world. The good and favorable political conditions helped Singapore overcome the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Again, the name of the most technology-ready nation and the best investment potential. Chapter 3: The Economic Development and Asian Tiger. Singapore has a highly developed market economy because of its history and developed international trend. Together with Hong Kong, South Korea, and Taiwan, Singapore is one of the original 4 Asian tigers. But Singapore has the higher data in terms of GDP per capita. According to the chart, the GDP per capita in Singapore from 1996 to 2010 is higher than the rest of the 3 parts, and it enjoys a higher growth than other 3 Asian tigers. The Singaporean economy is known as one of the freest, most innovative, most competitive, most dynamic, and the most business-friendly. This figure is the GDP of Singapore from 2011 to 2014. As it can be seen, the average growth rate is around 6% each year, and the foreign reserve and the average exchange rate is quite steady without too much increase or decrease in the 4 years. Meanwhile, the difference between GDP nominal and GDP real is quite slight. All this made Singapore as the world's 11th largest foreign reserves and one of the highest net international investment position per capita. Singapore is one of the leaders in the several economic sectors in the world, which include the famous of third largest foreign exchange central, third leading financial central, and the third largest oil refining and trading central. It enjoys a famous reputation in electronic industry and petroleum oil production. Singapore's largest companies are in the telecoms, banking, transportation, and manufacturing industry, and many of the companies was started as state-run companies with good regulation and cooperation. According to the figure, the economy of Singapore is diversified, and the top contributor are financial service, manufacture, and oil refining. The main export are refined petroleum, integrated circuits, and automatic data processing machines. These 3 sectors make for 23%, 16%, and 3% of the country's GDP in 2014. The main products include significant electronic, petroleum refining, and chemicals. With the development of society, the Internet plays an important role in economy. From the figure, the average Internet connection speed for each country or region can be shown on the screen. Singapore ranks second, which is connected to the economic sector of the country. Different from the software in Hong Kong and South Korea, the main industry is hardware manufacturing and high-tech field, while the smartphone usage is 100% much higher than the rest of the 3 tigers. This is also connected to the technology, and the World Economic Forum Global Technology Report placed Singapore as the most tech-ready nation 2015. Chapter 4: Culture Factor and Connection with the World. Singapore is a multinational country because of its history. In order to solve the communication problem, the government issued the Independence Act and made 4 official languages in both daily and government work. The languages include English, Malay, Mandarin Chinese, and Tamil. English is the common language and is the language of business, government, and schools. In addition, the government made a number of policies to make different nations get on well with each other. The good relationship among nations has good effect on the development of society. One example is employment. Singapore has one of the lowest unemployment rates in developed countries. The unemployment rate did not exceed 4% from 2005 to 2014, with the highest of 3.1% in 2005 and kept 3% during the 2009 global financial crisis, and it fell to almost 1.8% in 2015. The quality of life is also instance to show the good condition of Singapore. From the figure on the screen, Singapore ranked 11th among the Human Development Index in 2014, and it ranks 5th on the UN Human Development Index in 2016. The income inequality is 14.6% in 2014, which is not so high to through the people's life condition. In addition, Singapore is closely connected to the world. From this table, it can be seen that Singapore is closely connected to many global institutions, such as WTO, APEC, and ASEAN. So Singapore is often regarded as a global commerce, finance, and transport. It is rated as top international meeting city by UN and many organizations. Chapter 5. Conclusion. As a global commerce, finance, and transport, Singapore enjoying good political, economic, and cultural conditions. Although the country do not have huge territory, the high quality of life and rich industry sectors make Singapore very vital in the business world. Now I finished my presentation. I hope you have a new understanding for the business environment in Singapore. Thank you for listening.